Good morning, everyone. Today's video is about an old olive oil pressing mill built in 1882, right before the Industrial Revolution. It is on the foothills of Teba, which is a town between Malaga and Ronda. And I met the owners through some friends, and this was the third time that I was meeting them, and I decided to videotape their amazing mill. But before we get there, did you know when the olive production started or cultivation? 6,000 years ago, what is now Turkey and Syria. And then it spread through the Mediterranean countries and all over the world, and now everybody knows about olives and olive oil. Do you know how many varieties there are of olives? 1,000, believe it or not. But only about 160 of them are cultivated, and the majority comes from about 10, 12 different varieties. Do you know, another question, who produces the most olive oil in the world? Which country? It's Spain. Spain produces 70% of the planet's olive oil. And one variety, which is called Picual, produces 1/3 of the world's olive oil. So basically half of what Spain produces for the world. So let's go and watch the video. We have a special treat for you today. We are in front of the door, this old door of the Molino de las Pilas. It was built in 1882 with materials taken from an older mill in the 13th century. And we're going to open these doors, and there's amazing views there, an amazing place, and we'll talk about it. Okay, we're going to open this old door, as you can see, and let's push the door and let's enter this amazing patio, which has orange trees, lemon trees. Look how many lemons there are on this tree. And all the walls are covered with bougainvillea trees or bushes, whatever you call them. And when they flower, they're going to be amazing. And you can see what a big place this is. You can imagine the horses with carts and the donkeys bringing the olives from all over the place to be turning into olive oil. And you can see the size of these clay pots, and each one holds 3,000 liters of olive oil. Macarena's grandfather started this in 1882, so that's why he built this long press. And what happened, unfortunately, 3 years later, the Industrial Revolution arrived here, and they built all these other things that were mechanical, and they did not need donkeys and humans and whatever. And at that point, I think things started going down. And Macarena has been living here for 3 years full-time. Before, they used to come here summers and sort things out. Slowly they rebuilt this thing, and they had to do it with old materials. Hey everyone, this is the lovely Macarena, who is the owner of this mill, and she's going to describe to us the whole house and the timeliness of it and how it was built. Here we go.
Hello, this is El Molino de las Pilas. It's a very ancient olive oil mill. Probably the old part of it, which is that one over there, it comes from the probably 12th century, but it was not very much left. But the modern one, which is the one we are going to see today, which is preserved completely, all the structure and everything as it was originally, is from 1882, which is the modern one. Probably all the square and everything long time ago was a Roman villa, so it has the structure of a Roman villa still, and it has been lots of stories happening here, and lots of people living here, and lots of beautiful things happening. So come, I'm going to show you. Come on. Now we're going to travel on time to the times where you were doing oil in a very old way that was this way since before Romans. but an industrial basis because the shape of it is so big. You will see, come. This is our little treasure. Little treasure. Oh, we are going to the world of the olive oil. Ta-ta! Here we are. This is the whole place. The important things about it is that the whole meal is together. I mean, we have the three elements that are crucial for making the oil. It's not only the press. The press is only one part of it, and it's the name of the building, El Molino de las Pilas. Press is Molino. But we call the whole building Almazara, which is an Arab name that means a factory for oil. Molino, the mill, that one is used for smashing the olives. And then the press, which is for pressing the olives and taking the oil out. And then the most important thing of it, it's the decantation, which are these big clay pots. I don't know how you call them in English, but I call them tinajas in Spanish. And the storage that is over there, there is 10 big ones, where we store the oil for the rest of the year. And all of it works in a very special way because the shape of this beam is really extraordinary because it's very, very long. Usually they were shorter because they were made only with one tree. So the way they build this big beam is because the wood makers that they did it, they learned how to cut the wood and assemble the woods with the iron in able to make such a long structure. But also the architect has to design the building in able to support all this big press. I mean, this pressure of this big arm. It's a lay, and it needs it's sending a very long strength to the end. As longer it is, as much is pressing.
Macarena, how long is this press?
Probably it's about 18 meters, and it's probably one of the biggest preserved in the original place in the world, because they are all the ones that are as big as this one, but they are no longer in the original place because all these buildings, they are falling apart, unfortunately, because they are made of clay. So when the beams gets rotten or whatever, and the water comes from the ceiling, then the building is gone. So if it is not in the original building, you don't understand how it works. For making oil, the first step is after the washing that is in the outside in the patio with the water coming from the soup from the pound and everything. The clean olives comes in here, and they are put in this called tolva. And when you put the olives here, you have 3 mules eating there, because this is a kind of meal that works with animal energy. Nothing is electrical here, nothing is, it's before the industrial area, so the olives were falling over there, and the stones were smashing the olives. It was a kind of big, thick puree that you put it in some kind of basket. Big. This one is only maquette, but it's for you to see. This kind of baskets called capacho. You fill it up with this pasta, and then you close it with this, in able to avoid the pasta going away. And then you put them in the press. So this is the second work, pressing. First work is smashing, the meal, and then second work is the press. All these big baskets full of this puree underneath, one on top of the other. Imagine this is open, so you put a lid, a pile of these baskets until here, and when it's full of these baskets, then you turn the opposite way around, el lucillo, and then this big press starts smashing. It's incredible, eh? And then when you smash it, enable to not let the thing go backwards, press the oil. All these skin and bones stay in the capachos, in these baskets over here. So the oil, the first press oil, is not really oil as you see it. It's a big, thick liquid that goes over there. It's very, very thick because it's only 20% oil, the rest is solid and water. So it needs a process that is very important. We have been talking about the first process, which is the mill, second process, which is the press. Now we are talking about the third process that is more important even, which is decantation and storage. That is the trick for having a high quality oil, because it needs to separate. The oil needs to float and leave this solid go underneath, and leave the water in between, and able to separate the oil from the solid, because the solid is called alpecin and is very toxic. So it needs to be really far away from that. So the intelligent people that times, they did this first decantation pound, which is full of water during the harvest. There is no water anymore in any other time in the year. Only November, December, January, it has water. So when the oil comes into this water, the oily thing floats and the solid goes underneath. Then they take it from here with buckets and put it in this decantation pot, which is this one, which is a little bit shorter than the storage one. And in here, they leave it there for a while to continue getting decanted the solid and floating the oil, the clean oil, and then they take it again and put it in the longer last storage, which are those ones here, that they can have 3,000 liters each of pure olive oil that's still decanted here. They need a little bit more time, but the main shape of the pot, of the vasija, makes that the solid stays underneath in the bottom, the water stays like a kind of barrier between the oil and the solid, and then the beautiful clean olive floats there. And you can store it for a long time, because oil needs a certain amount of humidity and dryness that the clay provides that, and also needs lots of darkness.
Thank you very much, Macarena, for this presentation. It's incredible, and how lucky we are nowadays to have a much faster way of making olive oil. Macarena told me that the pressing and the crushing of the olives took about 2 days in those olden times, and making the third step, where it goes into clay pots and stays there for a while, takes 30 days. And the longer it stayed there, the clearer the liquid, of course, because all the sediments will go down. Nowadays, I have a couple of friends who have their own lands and their own olive trees, and they press their own, olives. They take them to the current mills. And I was told that 300 kilos of olives, it takes 2 hours to have olive oil out of them. It's incredible, isn't it? The difference, 2 hours versus 32 days at least. But I'm not so sure about the taste of this olive oil nowadays. But anyway, so great time. I hope you enjoyed this video and you learned something like I did. Thank you. Bye.